It was just past midnight when I sat alone on the couch, the blue light of the TV flickering across the empty living room. My phone buzzed, and I glanced down to see her message, "Don't wait for me." No explanation, no reason, just those 4 words. My heart sank a little. For the past few weeks, she'd been distant, always working late, always with that same tired smile when she got home. I wanted to believe her, I really did. But something inside me felt wrong that night. Her tone, her casual words, they didn't sound like my wife anymore. It wasn't just fatigue. It was detachment. So instead of going to bed, I grabbed my jacket, picked up my car keys, and decided to see where this work was keeping her until such late hours. The drive through the quiet streets felt endless. My heart pounded with every passing minute, torn between hope and dread. I reached her office building first, but her car wasn't there. I sat for a while, convincing myself she might have taken a ride home with someone or gone out with coworkers. Still, that gut feeling, the one that whispers when you already know the truth, wouldn't let me rest. So, I drove toward a place I'd once seen her mention in a conversation, a quiet street near a friend's house, on the other side of town. When I turned the corner, I froze. There it was. Her car, parked neatly in the driveway of a house I didn't recognize. The lights inside were dim, but I could see shadows moving. 2 of them. I didn't want to believe it. My hands trembled as I lifted my phone, recording a short video, her car, the house number, the faint silhouettes behind the curtains. My chest tightened as the seconds passed. At that moment, I realized I wasn't recording for revenge or proof. I was recording because I needed to face the truth later, when I'd start doubting myself again. It was 2:30 a.m. when I finally pressed send. The video went to her phone with a single message, "From your driveway." My heart raced as I watched the message status change, delivered, then seen. For the next 10 minutes, silence filled the car. Then, my phone started ringing. It was her. I didn't answer. I couldn't. The sound of her name flashing on the screen felt heavier than any argument we'd ever had. After the 5th call, she stopped. Moments later, a message appeared, "Please, let me explain." But explanations can't fix betrayal. Not when the truth is already staring you in the face through your own windshield. I sat there until dawn, watching the lights inside turn off. At one point, I saw the door open, and she stepped out, startled, nervous, scanning the street like she expected me to be there. She didn't know I was sitting just a few cars away, watching her run to her car like a guilty thief. When she finally drove off, I didn't follow. There was nothing left to chase. Back home, the silence felt different. It wasn't peace, it was emptiness. The kind that settles in when trust has been broken beyond repair. Her key turned in the lock around 4 a.m., and she entered quietly, probably hoping I'd be asleep. I stayed still on the couch, pretending to be lost in thought. She stood behind me for a long minute, her breath shaky. Then she whispered, "You saw, didn't you?" I didn't turn around. "I didn't need to see everything," I said softly. "Just enough." She broke down then, trying to explain, saying it was a mistake, that she felt lonely, that it didn't mean anything. But to me, everything about that night meant something. It meant the end of the man I used to be, the one who trusted her blindly. The next morning, I packed a small bag. No shouting, no dramatic scene. I just told her I needed space. She begged, cried, swore it would never happen again. But I knew forgiveness without trust is like building a house on sand. It might stand for a while, but it will always collapse. Days passed, and she kept trying to reach me. Messages, calls, even showing up at my brother's place where I was staying. Each time, I ignored her. I didn't do it out of anger, but because I needed to protect what little was left of my peace. The man who had once waited eagerly for her messages now flinched every time his phone buzzed. Weeks later, she sent one final message, "I know I broke us. But please don't forget the love we had." I stared at it for a long time. I didn't reply. Not because I'd forgotten, but because I'd finally accepted that some things, once broken, should stay that way. That night, I deleted the video from my phone. Not out of forgiveness, but to free myself from reliving that moment. I realized the true closure wasn't in proving her guilt, it was in walking away with my dignity intact. Sometimes, silence says everything words can't. And that was the last time I ever waited for her.